Welcome, everybody. My name is Sam Jean. I'm the CTO of Wishlay.com, and I have Shah, CMO of Wishlay.com, and we are going to teach you guys about Wishlay, everything, the benefits, the features, and why you should actually use Wishlay. Wishlay, you wanna talk a little bit?
Well, Wishlay, once I heard what this platform was about and what it enables people to do and your story as to how it came to be, I was like, anybody could relate to this situation and using a platform such as this. So do you want to tell people exactly what Wishlay is and the backstory on it?
Yeah, definitely. It was interesting about 2 years ago, as a starving entrepreneur, I needed a brand new laptop. So I was like, since it's going to be my birthday, let me figure out how I can leverage different technologies to raise funds so then I could get this new laptop. I saw GoFundMe and I was like, well, this is pretty cool, but as an entrepreneur, I didn't want to create a GoFundMe and then everybody thinking, oh no, he's collecting money so he can fund his projects.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? No, let me find something else. So I was looking at some other websites that I can generate a wish list and then see how people could, maybe like a registry. So I said, and I was looking at it and I said, wait, with a traditional registry, you need one funder, right? So I was like, damn, I can't really figure this out. So I said, you know what? Let me deep dive, do a little bit more research on this market, and I couldn't really find a tool like this. So what I decided to do is I said, you know what? I'm gonna do it the traditional way. I'm just gonna collect the cash,
Friends and
family, and I collected the cash, and then I ended up purchasing the laptop. And then showing everybody, hey, look, your money that you let me borrow or let me have for my birthday, because you're not getting it back.
Right. It's not a loan.
It's not a loan.
It's a permanent in my pocket. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I showed them that I bought the laptop, and they were like, all right, great. They were pretty happy about that. And I said, you know what? How about I build a software that does exactly that?
It's funny that you're saying that because as an entrepreneur, many issues that we have to deal with is the fact that we don't have money, or we have to bootstrap to get our equipment, to get ourselves situated, to be able to just even start from scratch, right? Like a laptop is a fundamental part of life at this point.
Yep.
If you don't have a phone and you don't have a laptop, you're not living in this century, right?
Yeah, and especially the things that like we're doing on the tech side, we need, high process, computers, so then we can put these applications on our systems and really run our laptops efficiently. So at that time, I said, I need a new laptop, because I was working too hard. And all my money that I was collecting from, working a 9 to 5 was going directly to my business.
Right.
So I was like, look, guys, help me out, right?
Right.
And they ended up helping me out. And because they helped me out and it was a success on my part, I was able to now create a platform that is successful for nonprofit organizations.
Yeah.
And Wishlay, and I can tell you more about, obviously this whole conversation is about Wishlay, and I can tell you deep dive more into what Wishlay does.
Right. When I was back home in New York, home is like two places for me. Home theoretically is Haiti, right? That's our roots. Africa, we can get into all that. And then, of course, being in the United States, I was doing a fundraiser for when the earthquake hit Haiti. And one of my friends who I told, hey, I want to do a fundraiser for Haiti, he asked for proof, right? One of the things that's going to happen is people are going to donate, people are going to come and they're going to participate, but where's the proof? And we didn't want to just hand over the money to other organizations because they said we're going to buy medical supplies and things like that. But when you do your research, you find that a high percentage of the money that they're going to collect is going to run their nonprofit organization, and then a small portion of that is going to go to the equipment and the supplies that they're going to provide, right? So one of the things that I really like about Wishlay is that it's not costing the person who creates the campaign any money to get the supplies, right? So if you go to like Red Cross or something like that and you donate, say, $100,000 or $1 million, they say like 51% of that or some high ridiculous amount of money is going to go into just running the business itself, right? And then you have but 49% or less going to the supplies. Wishlay, so now you don't really have proof.
Correct. And the administrative fees, you're paying, it's so much money going to the nonprofit. And what happens is it deters donors to donate to great causes, because then when you deep dive to a lot of these nonprofit organizations, what's happening is not a lot of that money is going back to the actual cause, or even traditional donation platforms. They take so much money out too. So you're like, okay, great. They're receiving, the platforms is receiving money, taking a percentage from the donation, and then the administrative costs. So now by the time that money trickles down to the actual cause, we're talking about pennies, right?
Right.
So what I wanted to do when I built this platform, I wanted to make sure two things. One is the nonprofits actually receive the full pledge.
Okay.
And then two, the donors are safeguarded and feel secure about what they're donating towards.
So let's skirt around that part and go directly to the legitimacy of the nonprofit organization. So now you give them the money, or you don't give them the money, but you get them the supplies. How do you ensure that what they intend or claim to purchase for their cause is going directly to that? For those that don't know, I know, but
yeah. So so what we do is, and I'll deep dive into Wishlay, and what we do is a nonprofit organization will register on wishlay.com. And what they'll do then is go through an onboarding process to make sure that they're an actual nonprofit organization,
and what
where it does a credentialing via their EIN,
501c3,
making sure that they're a 501c3.
Okay. Any others? 501c4,
501c4, 501c3.
Okay.
Those platforms those organizations can actually register.
Okay.
And what it does is it really checks their EIN number.
Okay.
Right. And every nonprofit organization should have an EIN number.
Okay.
And then once they pass that, then we go through an onboarding process of, we really hold your hand through the system, taking you through creating your landing page. Every nonprofit organization get their own landing page where they can receive cash donations. But where we set apart from everybody else is then you now can create a wish list. And within this wish list, you can then add all the products that you need.
That's like a registry.
Kind of like a registry.
Okay.
Where then you build out this wish list, and then you can then push it out to the donors, and the donors can then fund those particular products. But instead of like the traditional registry on like a high ticket item or any ticket, multiple donors can donate on one particular product.
Okay. So would you say that's one way, or in many ways, that Wishlay differentiates itself from other crowdsourcing platforms?
Yeah, it definitely does that, because one, we understand that um, we don't we don't have money, right? A lot of us donors wanna donate, but a lot of us can't donate as much as we can.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did is we provided the option for donors to just donate microfunding, right?
Right.
In increments. If they
Mhm.
want to donate a particular amount, they can donate a particular amount to that one particular product that they're interested in helping out with. And the nice thing is what we do is and how we safeguard the donors is you know, we give them the option to stay engaged with that campaign.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when they stay engaged with that campaign, we send them all sorts of notifications about, hey, look, we're almost done with this campaign. Thank you for your support. And then letting them know every step of the way of where that campaign is. Yeah, and that's one of the best parts about Wishlay. Wishlay.
So, are there any companies out there that have approached Wishlay that seems a bit left or right or a bit different from the common nonprofit organizations that you could pretty much identify in your head that would love or has used Wishlay as a platform?
Yeah, we get a lot of. I actually had a conversation yesterday with a nonprofit organization,
Mm-hmm.
and I told them, yeah, you can receive cash donations too, not only just on the product side. And they're like, yeah, well, I'm using another platform, and they take so much money from me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm kind of hesitant of like switching to yours because I don't know how much you guys charge.
Mm-hmm.
And I told them, I'm like, we don't charge you anything.
Anything.
And then we don't first off, we give nonprofits massive amount of tools
Right.
at no cost.
Right.
And the way that, if somebody pledges $10, that nonprofit organization gets that full $10. That's
Right.
pretty much simple as that.
Isn't it weird that you're saying in a board meeting with a nonprofit in a nonprofit organization, say we need $100,000, right? And then you launch a campaign for $100,000, but it only ends up with $40,000 in your pocket because the platform that you ran the campaign on is eating off of the money that you raised, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it doesn't make sense in a
Yeah.
way that
It's true.
a nonprofit or an organization that wants to have a charity campaign turns around and has to pay from the money that they received. And so now they have to really say, in order for us to get $100,000, we really need to raise $140,000 or something.
Exactly.
It's so weird that that would have to be part of
Yeah.
the calculation.
And the thing is, people have their own different business models for
Right.
software.
Right.
We talk about keeping the lights on, right?
Right.
And being in the software game, in the SaaS, working with different SaaS platforms, I understand like we have to figure out how to make money.
Right.
And it's not like, oh yeah, Wishlay is angels. Yeah. So how we make money is we actually just take money off of the transaction fee.
Right.
So if somebody donates $10 to you, we tack on a 10% fee,
Okay.
transaction
Or a
fee
dollar.
on a donor.
Right.
So Wishlay actually just makes $1 off of that.
Right.
So the donor would have to pay $11,
Right.
and that dollar goes to us. That full $10 pledge goes to the to the nonprofit organization.
Right. Which, I think Wishlay differentiates itself in another way as well, because you're asking for $100,000, right? Are you going surfing with that money? Are you going to Bali, right, to hang out with friends and so forth? Wishlay prevents that from taking place, right?
Yeah.
The social proof. Can we get into that a little bit?
Yeah, the social proof is really nice because we talk about transparency.
Right.
So within your portal, what happens is if anybody wants to see how much donations that's happening, anything that's happening, you can actually see it right in the landing page of the nonprofit organizations. So you're seeing everything that's happening, keeping that transparency alive. especially on the product side.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll see what's been shipped, what's been, and I'm talking about, we're talking about notifications. I know a lot of people don't like notifications. You can always turn that off. But if you really want to stay engaged with that, we send you all these types of notification letting you know how that nonprofit organization is doing. We know you love that nonprofit organization, and we want to make sure that we let the donors know the good work that they're also doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the things that I was trying to get you to drive to that point is that someone, right? Because it's not just for nonprofit organizations. It could be for that guy who needs a laptop, right?
Yeah.
But when he gets that money in his hand, you know, he's thinking something else, right? Like, oh, yeah, I needed the laptop, but Craigslist has this guy selling it for like peanuts. I could take this money and I could go somewhere else. I could have like a lobster and that nice biscuit that they have at Red Lobster, right? They could get down with that. Yeah. But Wishlay prevents that from actually taking place.
Yeah, because right? You can't. So a lot of people, you can't take that product and you go and return it and get the cash.
Right.
So we don't provide you, if you want to do any, like if there's anything wrong with the product, you can always go through the exchange process through Wishlay, but we don't have you don't have the option to go to any brick and mortar store and return it.
Right.
That doesn't happen.
Right.
Now, could we prevent all types of fraud or anything like this? Can't. People will always find a way to defraud any type of system. Right. But what we try to do with Wishlay is try to keep that transparency as much as possible.
Right.
The whole process is about safeguarding donors, right? We're giving these nonprofit organizations a slew of tools, to grow. And they should be very successful with these tools. But also it should also provide that transparency to the donors.
And I think Wishlay has created the ability to establish integrity with any nonprofit organization or anyone that decides to be on the platform, because it integrates social media. It integrates the ability to have a newsletter. It integrates their journey, right? So it's not just ask for money, here's a video here and there, and then try to raise the money and be gone, right? And the beautiful thing about Wishlay is that we've gone to nonprofit organizations and sat down with leaders of nonprofit organizations and walked them through. But not only walked them through, sat down and made sure that they followed through with it, right? Like we went to up in Broward County, right? And this establishment does a food drive, right? And they need money to buy food.
Yep.
Plain and simple, right? So the way Wishlay was before, it was, okay, you need to raise campaign money for a set of items that are replenishable, that are not replenishable, like a laptop. You buy a laptop, it's one time. But what about food, right? Food, if you're feeding people, then you're going to need to buy food on a regular basis. So you can create a campaign on Wishlay where people can say, I'm helping babies out there and ensure that they have diaper money. They have diapers every single week. They're going to use those diapers. I know babies use them involuntarily at all times, right? So you're constantly going to need that. And because we listen to the community that needs this service, we're able to adapt, right? And so we've integrated that portion, right? Where you're not just having a one-time campaign, but you can take the journey, right? This week provided 100 babies with diapers, right? So invest more. Do 1,000. Do 10,000, right? Diaper dandies out there. They all need help, right? Right? Food, people, especially, like, if this had came out during COVID, did you see what was going on in the United States? Like, if you walk down any block or 2 blocks away from any church in the country, there were people outside with sleeping bags, waiting for food and waiting for like inflatable beds, right? Where's that money coming from, right? So a nonprofit organization needs funding, but they're isolated. They're in a vacuum because if nobody knows about their church, because their website really doesn't have that recognition, Wishlay allows them to do that.
Exactly, because they all get that landing page where they can receive cash donations and people can see their campaigns, all their wish lists. But the other thing I want to talk about, highlight, which is the ability to add those type of products onto Wishlay.
Right.
So working with, churches. So when we went to go see that church, they do a food drive every Wednesday. Now, the problem with the food drive is they got to collect all this food. They gotta go pick it up. They gotta go here and go there, and it
wasn't streamlined.
It wasn't streamlined. So what we do is we're like, okay, great, just put your campaign up, put all the products that you want, and then you know what? Once it gets funded, we ship it all to you. You don't even have to. How
seamless is that?
It's seamless. So you don't even have to go and run to go. Once you get the cash, go to like Walmart, go to Target, go all bouncing around these different stores, and going to find diapers and all this because you got tons and tons of things to do. So build that campaign. It gets funded. We ship it out to you.
Do you remember their problem? Right, when we were speaking to the ministry, they had to go pick up the food in another county, right? And they thought that, okay, so they have to go and pick up the food about 50 miles away to drive back to the church to put everything in different packages. And then they were trying to petition the mayor of their town to allow them to use the lot next door because the line was so long, right? And it was going into the street. And so they felt so lucky that where they were picking up the food had a location not so far away, maybe about 10 miles away. And then you hit them in the head with, it's even easier than that. You don't have to do any of those things. You could just get a list of people, right? And then have the food sent out to them, and it'll be right at their doorstep as if it was Uber Eats or what is that called? Instacart or something like that. You know?
Yeah, and that's a whole thing is making it a lot easier for these nonprofit organizations. The other cool thing too is like when the donors donate to the campaign, what we do is we grab that repository of emails for them, and then we put it into an email chain, so they can have a whole, they can push out their own emails right through Wishlay.
Yeah.
So where you have this whole campaign where we made it so simple, it's like a drag and drop email with all your content. That's something that the nonprofit organization, they love, because if you think about it, what happens is you have this content, and you and I, we had the same issue, right?
Right.
When we do our events, we have these events, and what happens is we got to go pull all those contacts out. Then we have to grab those content, put the content in a different platform. Then those contacts, then we have to, build out this email, and then we send the emails out through another platform. And now we're using like 3 or 4 different softwares just to push out an email campaign, right? So what we did for Wishlay, those email campaigns can happen right through Wishlay, where the contacts are right there, the email repository is there, and the email builder, which is the drag and drop email builder, is right there too. So they can send out a thank you right after that campaign is completed and automate that process.
That's a huge thing, because if you ever try to do any of this stuff manually, there are so many steps that you're going to miscommunicate and miss the opportunity to stay in contact with the community, because you need a couple of things, right? You need to have a save the date, right? You need to let people know when the event is taking place. That's if there's a food drive we're talking about, right? And then when these people are there, you still need to let them know that it's going on.
Yeah.
And then you want another touch base where you're showing imagery and things like that, because people really want to know what's going on with their money, right? And if they're giving money for a cause, they want to see the journey of that cause, right? And then after that, they want gratitude, right? So having that email go out to tell them thank you, and having imagery and having things showing, providing social proof. Well, after you sat outside in the sun for 8 hours giving off food, you really don't have the energy to go back in front of a laptop and thank everyone who participated, right? And so you miss that step. So having this all integrated becomes very seamless with this new form of automation.
I have another story about a nonprofit using the site where they had another organization that provided them funding. So they did a huge funding campaign, right? Just to provide them cash. And what they did is they had the link to their landing page, and that organization said, "Okay, great. Where do you want the donations go?" Say, "We want it to go to Wishlay. Here's a link to our landing page." The organizer was like, "Okay, great. I need access to your portal, so then we can see who's donating." They wanted to see that visibility.
Oh,
right? They wanted
analytics almost.
Yeah, and they wanted to see if the people that they have in their contacts are actually donating. So they wanted to see that. So we have roles and permissions in our system.
Right.
So what the nonprofit organization was able to do was invite whoever's the manager of that into their dashboard. Just give them different roles just to see certain modules within Wishlay, and then they were able to see everybody that's coming in that's donating. And they were like, "Man, this is unbelievable that I can actually give somebody permissions just to see an overview of who's donating and things like this." Especially if somebody wants to understand more about, how they're collecting money, right? There's a lot of collaborations that nonprofit organizations do with other nonprofit organizations. So they want to make sure that they know how the money's getting divided and things like this, or collected. We provided that transparency where you can invite anybody to your portal.
That's pretty interesting, because now I can see the opportunities of Wishlay providing middleman opportunities. I mean, this is not something that we really have built out in a sense, but if an organization wanted to purchase products and they went to another organization and said, "Hey, we want your laptops at a discount," or "We want something, we want to be able to buy your products. Can we work something out?" You don't really need to. We as Wishlay can actually provide the continuity in the chain line to say, "Hey, this company wants these laptops to help students," right? So say a nonprofit organization wants to start a school system, right? And they want to buy laptops, right? They can go through us, and then you're getting those laptops. The nonprofit organization is not going to be some fake fly-by-night organization that just randomly sends some emails, right? You can go through us, and we can say, "Look, this is actually taking place. They have bought these laptops. right? And they're not getting any money from these laptops. They're not going to be able to say, hey, we wanted 1,000 laptops, but we changed our mind. We want the refund, right?
Yeah.
There's no refund over here.
No.
You can swap out those laptops for another set of laptops, but that's a wrap,
Yeah,
right?
because there's no, preventing fraud is like our number one key.
Right.
It's like, okay, great. We know, especially like I said, it's a process that you go through when you onboard to make sure that you are vetted as a nonprofit organization.
Right.
And then we make sure that, look, if somebody, like we look at every possible angles of, vetting these nonprofit organizations. But we do make it easy for the nonprofit organizations to onboard, but we also make sure that they are legitimate.
Can you talk a little bit about converting donors, right? So you have a person that is introduced to Wishlay by a organization that wants to raise a campaign, right? So as a donor, they read that, they donate some money, but then what about if they want to know what other causes that they can participate in? Is there...
Yeah, so it's we list all the nonprofit organizations. So we have a section. If you go to wishlay.com, there's a section that says you can look at all the wish lists, and then you can look at all the organizations that's currently on Wishlay right now. And then you can find different organizations, and then you can help fund or look at theirs. Kind of like how GoFundMe does, right? Where there's a GoFundMe for a particular campaign or whatever. We have something similar to that, but it's more tailored to that organization. So then you can find different organization in different spaces. So like pets, animals, or churches, anything like that.
Does it come out also in the form of a newsletter, or they have to visit the website on a regular basis?
Yeah, they have to visit the website. Eventually, we're gonna create a newsletter where we can send out different nonprofits that has registered onto Wishlay. But currently, no, we don't have a newsletter.
Yeah, I would love to see that. Like, hey, normal news is bad news, right?
Yeah.
So this person died, the interest rates went up, right? Somebody's running for president again. I'm not gonna say who. But you can come up with your own who you don't want to become president of the United States, and then good news will come out.
Go into politics.
I don't want to go into politics, but people get bad news when they turn on the news, right? So having a newsletter come in and showing the positivity, the things that people are doing in a good way, show up in your mailbox is something that I would like to rifle through on, say, maybe even a weekly basis or a monthly basis,
Yeah, we're gonna build out our newsletter. Wishlay is fairly new, so what we're trying to do right now is identifying really those nonprofits that really need products. That's the main thing. Converting them to our site. We have, like I said, we have a bunch of tools that will help them out. But as we onboard more and more nonprofit organizations, that's when we are going to build out this newsletter to send out, letting people know what's happening, what's in store. We have some really great features coming out in Q4.
Okay.
That's going to really change how donations going to work. We identify several issues within the whole donation world with platforms, and also to provide, like, everything that I'm doing is really trying to prevent fraud and open up transparency, right? So and the next iteration of Wishlay is going to really change that for nonprofit organization and for donors, really for donors, safeguarding them.
So I don't want to escape too much from the donor conversion, right? So your story is a story of I need a laptop, family and friends, please chip in, which most people, usually go to your family or your friend like, I need 100% of the money from you, right? To be able, or how much money I got in my pocket doesn't matter because it's not enough. So I need you to fork over, right?
Yep.
So what if we're in a world where entrepreneurs are on the rise, right? Can an entrepreneur who's not a nonprofit get on the platform and get a laptop?
They sure can.
Okay.
So here's the thing. I really don't talk about this aspect too much of the platform.
Okay.
But yes, I did.
Is that a reason?
I did do a little. I did put something a little selfish in there for me. So if I
Okay.
ever need a laptop again, I can do that.
I think people need
So,
them.
so what we did is, so all nonprofit organization receives their own landing page to collect money, right? To
Right.
collect donations and also to create their
Mhm.
own wish list. But what we also did is we add if anyone registers as a general user onto the platform, we gave you tools also to create your own wish list, right? If you ever need a laptop, you can create a you can create a wish list, and then find the products within Wishlay, and you can also campaign off of that too. But it's not cash. You do not have the option for cash donations for general accounts. You only have the access to create a wish list. The other thing too, what we did for general users is you still get the news. You still get the email campaign too. So you get to send out emails through Wishlay and thanking people for their generosity.
Yeah, I plan on. I don't know why I haven't jumped on this. Right,
Yeah.
there are things that I need. Right, so
There's things we all need.
there are things we all need, but I am so much. There's this thing called OPM. Right, OPM is other people's money. Right, and that's been around since who knows how long. You had some guy named Tretch and Naughty by Nature who came out with a song called OPP,
Yeah.
other people's property, right? But OPM, like, you're gonna bottleneck yourself if you're just gonna dig in your pocket to see and rummage through what you have financially in order to get yourself fully launched, right? So having a platform like this and getting over your anxieties of how much money you really need to get your business up and running, I think this is an important component to it. So let me ask you this, right? A laptop, a phone, a drone, lights, things like that. Typically with GoFundMe and all these other campaigns, which are monetarily created,
Yeah.
you got to they have to come up with 100% of the money, right? And then they're going to take that money and buy the equipment that they need, right? Does Wishlay allow you to identify certain things in the campaign that you need and pluck them away from the list as you go along your journey?
Yeah, and that's a beauty. So you don't have to wait until the full campaign
That's so
is
important.
completed. So if you have 6 products in your wish list, and then one of them gets funded, oh yeah, we send that bad boy right to you. So you'll get that, and then and your campaign will still keep moving.
That's big.
Yeah. So we have an interesting organization on Wishlay right now.
You don't want to say the name?
Called the Mike Speaks.
Oh, can you talk about that a little bit? I heard it is. Mike Speaks.
So the Mike Speaks, they actually have a wish list.
Okay.
And they're an organization that helps small businesses, where we're bridging the gap right?
We. Okay.
We.
Okay, so you're involved in some way.
Me
Yeah.
involved? No. What are you talking about?
Go ahead, go ahead. Don't be biased. Don't be biased. Go ahead.
So we have an organization called the Mike Speaks, where we're bridging the gap, helping small businesses, really finding different resources, how to grow, and just helping out different businesses. So we do this monthly podcast, and just really talking about, how we can help businesses scale in different varieties. And what we did is we created a little wish list on there for different products that we need. We're not a nonprofit organization, so we don't get that landing page, but we do have the option of getting funding for some of the things that we need as a for-profit organization.
And just to widen the fishnet a little bit, like when I met you, I was captivated by the fact that you're looking to help people, right? And every single platform that you showed me was about helping people. And Wishlay and TMS are about helping communities, right? And that's a beautiful thing where one platform can help another platform that you've created, right?
Correct.
I mean, we can go into Ascend, how that can be integrated into everything as well. But it's beautiful that we came up with a platform called the Mike Speaks, and we want to be able to project our voice across the world, but we need equipment. And how do we ask for it, right?
Yep.
How do we specifically ask for it? And Wishlay provides a solution. So for those out there that are just sitting there just trying to, they're just scratching their temples and they're trying to figure out how are you going to get your products, your equipment for your business, and your mom's broke, your dad's broke, your brother's laughing at you because he's not giving you a dime, right? That you can actually say, wait a minute, I don't need to just ask the people that are next to me. I can go beyond that, and I can create a campaign and tell people about what you're trying to do, and they can take you seriously, and you can build out and flesh out your platform and show them with social proof the good that you're doing, right? And I think that being part of the greater good or having a mission for the greater good is essential to the growth of society as a whole, right?
Yeah. And that's a good point, because for me, my platforms that I create is about helping people.
Right.
I've been down. I've seen it, right? So it's been a hard journey for me growing up as an immigrant from Haiti, and then seeing my parents struggle to get us things, right? And the reason why I created, why I actually have the name Wishlay is because I remember it's a play on word from wish and layaway.
Right.
So, and I remember the layaway program. So
we spoke to some people who didn't know what a layaway program was, right?
Yeah, I always joke about that.
Like,
and
do you know what layaway is? When you don't have enough money? Nah, what's that? I never had not enough money to buy anything. I'm like, oh, okay. You never struggled. Okay, what's up? We'll tell you about the struggle life. Go ahead, tell them.
And it's just like, I remember, when we were growing up, and my mother had, at JCPenney and Kmart, and we had that cart full of things, right?
Yeah.
So
put it back.
So put it back. don't touch it.
Yeah, mommy, I want this. All right, don't worry about it.
Chita.
Chita means go sit down somewhere. For those that don't know, Go ahead.
So pushing the cart, putting it, the layaway program was a great program for people who didn't have money, because, my mother was able to put stuff away and pay it, weekly by week, whenever she had the money,
Right.
and pay it off.
Right.
And then once she paid it off, then she can actually take all those products.
Right.
So this is where Wishlay comes in, where we're like, okay, well, we're creating a wish list, but the layaway program, instead of you putting that money in each week, which you could still put your own money in for your products,
right.
but you also get the community to help you out. And then in addition, instead of like with the traditional layaway program, you have to buy the whole thing.
Right.
So what we did is we said, okay, whatever gets funded, we'll send it to you.
Right.
And that's how we came up with the word Wishlay.
It's so funny that you're talking about being a kid, right? Because as a kid, my mom, when we had game councils, when I wanted game councils, right? My mom poisoned me and made me feel bad that I had the sticks, right?
Yeah.
She'd be like, I didn't pay the rent this month, right, fully because you wanted this, right? So I said, but Mom, I don't have any games. That's it. You're not getting any games. You better go to your friend's house and knock on his door and play games because you're not getting anything. So
go to your friend's house.
Go to your friend's house. We don't have any money, right? And so maybe she didn't know about layaway programs, but then the friends and the family would always be like, what can I get your child for Christmas or for their birthday? And maybe you don't want to fork over the whole thing for PS whatever, right? For PlayStation whatever number that's going to come up. Why not have everyone contribute, right? So that's for kids, right?
Yeah.
But the beautiful thing about this is it's not just for kids, right? Like as an entrepreneur, you want to invest your money and your time in things that are going to allow you to harvest your own crop, right? Not just grow a PlayStation out the ground and play it, right? You're able to, as a nonprofit or as an entrepreneur, keep the funding going in. And whatever money you're raising for the entrepreneur, the nonprofit, that can go into the services, right? That can go into building out your team. But for the actual equipment, actual products, you don't have to meddle that money in, right? Which would dissuade donors from even participating. That's what was going on when the earthquake hit in Haiti and when the tsunami hit in the Philippines. A lot of people out there were like, I'm not giving money to the Red Cross. I'm not giving money to Doctors Without Borders because they're not using the money for what I intended them to use. Or you go to pharmacies and to supermarkets nowadays, right? Before you pay, what do they ask you? Would you like to donate some money to a cause?
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. I would rather proactively donate money, right?
Yeah.
Because I know that most of my money is not going to that, right? With Wishlay, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
It's
the beauty, man. It's a beauty. And everything I do revolves around helping people because I've been down, I've been out. My family, I always give them kudos for raising us the way that they did because it humbled me, and what it did is instilled this passion in me to help others, right? And all we want to do is for Wishlay is we want to help nonprofit organizations as much as we can, and just raise money for these social goods that they're doing, right?
I always want to compare, in the United States, this is a long stretch, right? In the United States, we are raised to get our money, get our education, get an apartment on our own, get a house on our own, and be the head of the household where we have to pay for absolutely everything. And it makes life in the United States extremely difficult. But when you look at immigrants who grew up with a lot of people in the household and everyone in the household is contributing in some type of way, it makes everything bite size as far as the financial responsibilities you have.
Yeah,
right?
we talk about community, right? That's the
Right.
whole thing. Like everything that we're building is all based about community,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
How could the community help fund these activations?
Right.
How could the community come together to, like TMS,
Right.
how could we collectively put our resources together
Right.
to help one another,
Right.
right?
Right.
How could we go onto these platforms like Ascend Video and actually have an open conversation and just come together and figure out how we can do a lot of these things together.
Right.
You know, all I know is community.
Right.
I'm Haitian.
Right.
I can't.
Yeah.
I got a big family.
Yeah.
So everything we did it together, just like you're talking about.
Right. And it makes surrealism an actual reality. Like, you don't have to dream about being able to do something for society when you have a community behind you who literally now just have to give you pennies, right, to make something a reality, right? And so I think Wishlay is a great solution across the board for so many organizations that are really trying to lock down some goals. In 2023, 2024, you got some goals, put them on Wishlay.
Yeah.
They'll make it happen. We'll make it happen. We'll help you make it happen.
We will.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Well, how can they follow Wishlay? I mean, we need to put up some content, though. I ain't even going to hold you with that way. You know, we got some stories to put out.
Yeah, we have
skateboard stories.
We have so many stories. All of that is going to come out. You know, you can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We're on all of those platforms. YouTube.
How do you spell it?
It's WISHLAY.com.
Yeah.
Wishlay.
Super easy. You just think of
and
go ahead.
And then for social media too, we couldn't find Wishlay, so it's Wishlay donations.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
somebody snatched it up.
You know how it is. First
they
come,
probably
first
have
serve.
nothing. They're probably not even doing half the stuff that we're out here doing.
Yeah, so it's Wishlay. You know, if you can't look for Wishlay donations on social media, and then follow, support, and you know, register. Just try it out. It's free. It's free.
I love it. I love it, and I appreciate the opportunity to really be part of this platform. As I'm CMO, so I'm making sure that these products are getting over to the nonprofit organizations and making sure everything's running smoothly in the background, you know, and you're grinding on it every single day.
Yeah. And we're, you know, and our story about coming together and tackling Wishlay together is awesome. You know, I couldn't do it without Shah. Shah is the e-commerce guru, as we like to say, and all the products are brought to you by Shah.
We're partnering up with a lot of companies, though.
Yeah, a lot of companies are partnering up with us, but Shah's really spearheading that process of making sure that, you know, we have the right products for the nonprofit organizations and looking at how to add more products. And then Shah just he does.
Somebody asked us for a bus.
Somebody
asked us to deliver a bus to Ghana. And I don't know where the buck or bus stops. I was like, how are we going to get a bus? Like, a bus? You want a bus?
I'm like, well, Shah, hold on. Could you add a bus on Wishlay in the e-commerce side?
Yeah.
You think you could add that in there?
I don't know.
Maybe in the future. We don't know.
We could probably get cars.
Hey, look, if any car, like, what is it, car dealership wanna put their products on Wishlay?
Do you remember what a top is?
Top? Nah, I don't know.
So for those that don't know what a top is If you go to Haiti, there's a bus with a bunch of drawings on it that when you get on the bus, if you don't have a live chicken on you, right? If you don't have some form of drumstick ready to eat, right? You've never been on a real bus, right? Where people take literally like rice out of a Ziploc bag to eat. Right? That's a top. And you're going to be on that bus all night long with live animals on the top of the vehicle, right? We might have to start shipping tops, right?
Yeah.
All over the world, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's buses and they go around these mountains.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like one lane for this bus that's going to take 2 lanes.
I think this is where you come in, man. This is where
I
your
don't
specialty
know.
comes in. You got to put, you got to put, see what we got to see what crazy things we could put in that
They'll want it.
marketplace.
If you what's the saying? If you bring it, they will come, or
That's it. Yeah.
something like
it's
that.
It's Field of Dreams.
Yeah, Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner, right? I think that was the actor on it. Yeah. If you build it, they will come. That's what he said, right? So they're trying to build the field. So we're out here putting stuff in the field for y'all.
Yeah.
I think that's a wrap for me, man.
Yeah,
this was really good.
Definitely.
This was really good. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining, and then we will catch you on social media.
On the flip side, thank you so much.
Thank you.